Thanks, Josh. As you can see, the Alfa's starting to line up on the grid, and it's deja vu because it's a damp track that they are lining up on, as they did earlier. And in this morning's race, of course, we saw the second group of cars, the hot hatch cars, fly their way through the field. Dan Silvestre taking the overall lead within 2 laps, which was just as well because we then had the safety car for the remainder of the race. Let's have a look at how the grid is going to line up then. Again, it's the Alfas on the front part of the grid, the hot hatches on the back part of the grid. It's going to be a 13-minute race after a green flag lap. Pole position is going to go the way of the race 1 winner. That is number 33, Toby Broom, and besides him is 201, which is Paul Plant. Second row of the grid is the driver that was also on the podium in race 1, number 75, Tom Hill. And next to him is number 30, Stacey Dennis. On the third row, on the inside, it's number 23, James Ford, who's looking favourite for the championship right now, and number 70, Mike Hilton in the 4C next to him. The fourth row, 211, Simon McPhee's Fiat, and 79, Dave Messenger in the Alfa. Row 5 is 91, Richard Ford, and 54, Adrian Norman. Row 6, 78, Edward Robinson, and 14, Andy Page. Row 7 of the grid will be Gabriele Icarino and Jamie Thwaite, number 40, a non-finisher earlier on in the TCR car. Chris McPhee, Tom Waite and Keith Waite, 221, 241 and 4 respectively, didn't make it to the start even of the first of the races this morning. Pole position for the hot hatches, and on the outside of row 9 will be number 37, Daniel Silvestre. Then the next up, it's going to be 45, Dan Brown, and 34, Will Self. Row 11, 137, Kelvin Talbot in the Integra, and the 36, Ryan Polly in the Civic. Row 12, 22, Tate Taverner's Type R, and 67, Ben Morton. Row 13 will be 21, David Walsh in the Clio, and 24, Nick Cristofaro. Row 14 is 69, Matthew Mandapira, and 57, Joel Arguelles, the 2 Class B Championship contenders. Row 15, 122, Shay Kavanagh, and 1, David Drinkwater, who is looking good for the overall championship. Row 16 is 20, Martin Paget, and 58, Paul Jarvis. Row 17 is 111, Joe McMullen, and 13, Stuart Kennedy. Row 18 is 316, Ivor Mayers, and 95, John Hobbs. Row 19, 230, Emilio Lucchesa, and 9, Cavan Taylor. On the 20th row, it's 148, Wayne Shackelford, and 73, Jeremy Lucas. Row 21 is 197, Craig Turner, and 5, Neil Frost at the back. We've got the car that caused the red flag here, 164, Adam Schaefer in the Peugeot if it's fixed, and 72, Archie Stein, whose Honda CRX was into the pit lane before the start of the earlier race. So the top 3 on the Alfa grid as per the finishing order of race 1, and that's very much the same story amongst the hot hatch cars as well. What's going on in the respective championships? Well, the hot hatch championship, we're down to 4 potential overall champions because Dan Brown and Joel Arguelles have dropped out of championship contention. But the situation we now have is David Drinkwater 10 points clear of Martin Paget in second. Then it's Dan Silvestre and Matthew Mandapira. All could mathematically just about win the overall championship. But I think if David Drinkwater gets a half decent result here, he is going to be the hot hatch champion for the 5th successive time. It's still to be decided in Class B as well between Mandapira and Arguelles, although Silvestre has wrapped up Class A now. B and C still to be decided. In the Alfas, a bit more difficult to sort out the points with this one, but it's increasingly looking like James Ford is going to win that championship, providing he gets a finish here. With Tom Hill slightly stymied by the lack of starters within the V6 class of the championship. So the cars on their formation lap ahead of this 13-minute race for the PBS Brakes Hot Hatch Championship and the High-Tech Alfa Romeo Championship. The sun shining brightly now upon us here at Silverstone. You can see in the background the works going on at the Escapade development on the outside of Maggots, some residential units being built there for those that can afford them, that afford a great view of the circuit, I'm sure. Of course, the cars in all bar the Twin Spark Cup class of the Alfas, they can run on slick tyres if they wish. Whether they've opted to do so or not, I'm not quite sure. cars in hot hatch don't have the option of slick tyres. Of course, they are on any tyre from the Motorsport UK list 1A, 1B, or 1C that they can use. A variety of different tyres may be used within hot hatch. And in the early race, yes, we saw the faster hot hatches quickly blast their way through the Alfa grid. I suspect conditions are not too dissimilar now to what they were for that race this morning, so we may see a repeat of that. And let's hope we don't have the interruption of the safety car this time, and we do get a full race distance for the Alfa and hot hatch drivers who are completing their seasons here. In the case of the hot hatches, it's been a 16-round season. It's a shorter campaign for the Alfas, amounting to 6 double headers and 12 rounds during the course of the year. Within hot hatch, there are 3 different classes, and they are based on a power to weight ratio. Class A being for cars with 200 brake horsepower per turn. Class B, the split is at 175, and Class C it's at 145. The Alfas, they have a number of different classes. They have the modified class, they have the power trophy class for all the less slightly modified cars, the V6 class for V6 engine cars, and the Twin Spark Cup for Twin Spark more standard road going specification cars, very nearly on a treaded tyre. See a Fiat there, not entirely unknown to have the Fiat Puntos joining the Alfa grid as well, as are other Italian marques. They're welcome to join the field as guests. And here you see the hot hatch cars weaving their way around the circuit to get some heat into their treaded tyres before the start of the race, which is going to start 10 seconds after the race. The hot hatch race will start 10 seconds after the Alfas, so that will go on the fall of the Union flag, whereas the Alfas will go on lights out. So 13-minute race it's going to be. Final Alfas coming into position. They're having to wait a little while on the grid while the 20-odd hot hatches arrive. You can see on the right-hand side of the picture Toby Broom in the Revs Italia number 33 Alfa 147 GTA. Next to him is number 201, renumbered from 20. That's Paul Plant. He's in the Power Trophy class, the blue and white car. And then you've got Tom Hill, who's already been a multiple champion in Alphas, originally in the Twin Spark Cup. More recently he switched to the Power Trophy and then the V6 class. And next to him on the outside of the second row, you have the number 30 car, which is Stacey Dennis, another of the Power Trophy runners. Behind her you've got the beautiful 4C of Mike Hilton as well, who is alongside James Ford in the first of the Twin Spark Cup cars. The last few cars just coming into position, so shortly we'll get the green flag at the back. The CRX is there of Archie Stiant, and we are about to go racing then for 13 minutes around the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. So it's Toby Broom in the red car on pole position, Paul Plant 201 in the blue and white car next to him in the Giulietta. Race about to get underway. Wipers on for some of them, and the lights do go out. The race does get underway. Tom Hill it is with his wipers on from the second row of the grid, and it is Broom that has the lead of the race. Then Hill is up to second. Paul Plant has dropped down to third position. There is the start of the hot hatch race, and it's Dan Brown that's made a very good start to the race. He's got ahead of Dan Sylvester in the ex-Chris McCloy car, but they are still side by side as they go through Cox. But it's a very sideways Toby Broom that leads through Beckett's for the first time. Tom Hill second, Mike Hilton up to third in the 4C. Paul Plant is in fourth place in the Giulietta, and then the rest of them all making their way through. It's Stacey Dennis fifth, I think, and it doesn't look like we've got, for example, Jamie Thwaites from the back, but looking like a very good race in prospect here. between the Alphas. Mike Hilton coming through very nicely.
Yep, Hilton up the outside down towards Stowe, and he bisects the two saloons, dives across to the inside, but gets chopped going into the corner. He wasn't particularly committed down there, was he, Ian? And paid the price for that, but that's fine. He's just trying to get some temperature into those tyres. It looks stunning, but he gets up the inside into Copse, and the erstwhile leader runs really wide, has to fight to get the car back into that tight corner.
And the hot hatches are going to be in amongst the back of the Alphas already. We could see Ryan Polly going through, and also Will Self in the Peugeot. There is the lead, though. It is Dan Sylvester in the grey, yellow and green car. He's got himself ahead of Dan Brown now, who's down in second place in the hot hatch part of the race. They're just coming through Club Corner as well. So we'll see exactly how far up the order Dan Sylvester can get by the end of the first lap. Dan Brown is going with him. And then it's to the 137 car, I think, in third place. So that's the Honda Integra, is it not, of Kevin Tolbert. And he's got himself up the inside of him through Farm, and he's done it. He's got through there. He's also got past the number 97, Gabriele Iaccarino, Alfa Romeo as well. So Will Self very committed. Some selfless driving, you might say, as he makes his way out of Village and into the loop. And he is up into third position within the hot hatches. He's got a few more Alphas to try and pass though before he gets up to P3 overall, as we're watching Dan Sylvester go past the McPhee brothers in their Fiats, and he's about to go past Andy Page in the Alfa Giulietta as well.
Yeah, get the two Fiats into Brooklands, and that Alfa looks really fierce. Fierce car, isn't it? The blue machine. I mean, you've seen it once before, I think. And there's Dan Sylvester, who's got the legs on Dan Brown at the moment, and he'll equal the score earlier on, 5 wins apiece this year, didn't he, Ian? And it could be 6-5 in his favour.
Over the line they go then at the end of the first lap. Mike Hilton it is that is leading overall. He's 4.7 seconds ahead of Tom Hill in second place, but Dan Sylvester is 12 seconds at the start of this lap behind Mike Hilton in the overall lead of the race. He's just cleared Stacey Dennis now as well in the Alfa. I think it's down as a 147, but I think it's a Giulietta that she is in. And he's continuing to make up more place as well. The McPhee brothers battling away. Kevin Tolbert trying to get past them in his Honda Integra, but has yet been able to do so. Honto's making their way through. And just behind Kevin Tolbert, you can see Ryan Polly as well. He's been a champion in 750 Motor Club Championships in the past. Brown has now got ahead of Dave Messenger, so he's up into 5th position, I think. Messenger has Dan Brown right behind him. And I think it's going to take a little bit longer for Dan Sylvester to get all the way through the field here, because the conditions have improved a little bit since this morning, I reckon, and Mike Hilton finds them more to his liking than he did earlier on.
Yeah, I think he's much more. He's got a better circuit on which to race, a more consistent circuit, put it that way, and you can read it better. And it's a lovely, lovely car to see ahead. A real treat to see on track the 4C.
Yeah, so Tom Hill, we just saw at the front of shot there. We've got Andy Page there trying to get past Stacey Dennis and for a position within the Alfa grid, which he has done. So Andy Page in the modified class, and the Giulietta getting ahead of the Power Trophy car of Stacey Dennis. Down at the hairpin at Village is Dan Sylvester leading his way in the hot hatches.
Tricycling through the loop inside. We got a couple of inches off the deck.
Just to update you in the class as well, David Walsh was leading in Class B, and David Drinkwater's crucially in Class C, which if he stays there will be enough for him to wrap up the Hot Hatch Championship yet again.
Yes, he's a formidable competitor, isn't he, David Drinkwater? Whatever he goes into, he takes very seriously, prepares a nice car, drives it really beautifully, and he's very consistent.
He is
double yellows.
Double yellows, now where are they? It's at Copse. By the looks of it, it looks like an Alfa has gone off.
It's gone off into the Papyrus Gap.
It has. Vacated by the Lithuanian only a few moments ago. Is that Edward Robinson's car, possibly, that has gone off there at Copse? Dan Sylvester's done the best lap of the race on the second flying lap, a 2:40 dead. But Mike Hilton's done a 2:41.07, so he's only made up a second on the overall lead, which is 11 seconds behind. Of course, the overall lead is a bit of a notional thing because there's two separate results declared at the end of the race, one for the Alphas and one for the Hatties, and it's a separate set of points. So I'm not sure here that Dan Silvestre will necessarily get to the front of the field at all during this race. He's got ahead of Paul Plant now. He's up into 4th position overall. So just Toby Broom and Tom Hill and Mike Hilton then to find a way past to take the checkered flag first in this race.
Yeah, Will Self has chased Dan Brown through past some of the Alphas. Alphas side by side now, pretty much on the hanger straight, but
that's a change, isn't it? Toby Broom ahead of Tom Hill for the moment. Stacey Dennis has gone off the circuit in the number 30 Giulietta. She's going to rejoin it, having been off at the complex. Looks like Tom Hill's made it back through ahead of Toby Broom in the two Revs Italia sister cars. Very smart running together as they are. Tom Hill doesn't always have much competition in that class. I'm sure he's relishing this battle with his teammate Toby Broom, who's stepped up from the Twin Spark Cup. And they're going to be joined momentarily by a quicker car to the tune of about 4 seconds a lap.
And while they're squabbling, it's not really helping their cause.
No.
But they don't really care. As long as they have the fun together, it doesn't matter what the Honda of Dan Silvestre does.
And they're both well used to being passed by quicker cars because they used to mix grids in the Alfa Romeo Championship anyway. Both have been racing in the slower Twin Spark Cup class within the Alphas in the past, so very much used to finding cars of this pace, trying to squeeze a way through, but it's not necessarily easy for Dan Silvestre to find a way past.
Plenty of breathing in. Silvestre manages to hook in tight coming out of the loop onto the straight. There is Mike Hilton.
He's got pretty much the length of the straight, hasn't he?
Silvestre still hasn't got past. He's working on it now, though. And he'll scuttle down the inside. No, he's through anyway before the bridge. But the Alpha's still squabbling behind. 75 ahead of 33 again.
Yeah, that's right. So Hill ahead of Broom in the battle for class position. James Ford, I've not checked on his progress. It's the 78 car that was indeed off. It was Edward Robinson's Alfa 156. James Ford is indeed leading the Twin Spark Cup class, which is good enough for him to wrap up the Alfa Championship as well. We're watching Paul Plant here, who is 5th now, having divested 4th to Dan Brown. In fact, he's in 6th because Dan Silvestre, because Dan Brown has also got through. Silvestre up to 2nd now, but his lap time is almost identical to that of Mike Hilton on that lap, so the gap is still just over 11.5 seconds between Hilton and Silvestre, albeit Silvestre now has a clear track ahead of him to try and get his head down.
Yes, he lost a fair chunk of time, didn't he, on that lap in the sort of infield section from beyond Farm onto the Wellington Straight, but yet he still did.
Oh dear, there is a car off deeply into the gravel. That's not going to get out very easily. That's the 230 car of Emilio Lucchese's, the Citroen Saxo. That is, we saw a car off there yesterday in the Burkitt, didn't we? And that took some retrieving.
That's the bit, the sort of darker bit that looks solid and isn't when you get there.
Absolutely, very deceptive. Oh yeah, that's well in. Yeah, you're going to need a crane to get out of there, I think. But anyway, race goes on. Dan Brown is now with the battling V6 Alphas of Toby Broom and Tom Hill. It's Hill in the GT ahead of the 147 of Toby Broom at the moment. But Dan Brown is about to pass them, but there will be double waved yellows at that part of the circuit. 3 minutes of the race left to go. Can Brown find a way through Abbey?
Plant's not far behind, and behind him it's Will Self.
Yeah, just checking the class positions. David Walsh still ahead in Class B for Matthew Montepera and Joel Arguelles. Class C, David Stringwell still there.
Great one. Both Alphas zapped in one fell swoop for Dan Brown there.
Up to 30 goes, and the two Alphas need to get into the side of one another there, don't they? 33, Toby Broom up the inside of Tom Hill. I should think Tom Hill's really enjoying this because, as we say, doesn't often have much of a race. And they're coming onto the back straight now, side by side. Dan Silvestre's made his escape from Dan Brown here, having got ahead of those two cars basically a lap earlier than Brown did. So it's probably 4 or 5 seconds up the road by now. You've got Will Self coming through. He is the 3rd now of the hot hatch cars ahead of Kevin Talbot.
4 laps down then for leader Mike Hilton in 70. He's out of our shot. But here is the second place man, leader of the hot hatch section, Dan Sylvester in number 37. There is Dan Brown. Behind Dan Brown, it's 33, which is Toby Broom ahead of Tom Hill, the Revs Italia teammates. And the top 6 completed by Will Self in the red Peugeot. You can see there under pressure once again, this time from Kevin Talbot in the Honda Integra, who's really got going.
Yeah, they've both now cleared Paul Plant's Alfa, so he's gone down to 8th position. Ryan Polly is 9th, and David Walsh in the hot hatch Class B leading car rounds up the top 10. So Talbot chasing after Self as Dan Sylvester. It was 12 seconds behind, so he actually lost ground on the previous lap to Mike Hilton, who's done the best lap of the race, a 2-minute 37.92. Now, will we get the checkered flag at the end of this lap, or will we get one more? I think by rights it should be a checkered flag, but we'll see what happens. Keep an eye out of the window and what we're seeing on screen as well. They're going past that Emilio Lucchese Saxo that's beached at the exit of Club Corner. And here is Sylvester now, chasing after the 197 Craig Turner Renault Clio. There's Tate Taverner, number 22, who is in 17th position at the moment. He's got himself ahead of Joel Arguelles, though, on this lap. The Class A car now ahead of the Class B car. There's our overall leader, Mike Hilton, in the 4C. Beautiful looking thing. Very unusual car. And he's just turning on to the Wellington Straight once again, with only 16 seconds left on the clock.
Flatbed going off down towards Club in the background.
Looks like the last lap board is being prepared rather than the checkered flag, which is what I was expecting. So last lap board being prepared for Mike Hilton, although we have counted down to 0 now. And so he's going to have one more lap to go, and I think he's just continuing to get away here from Dan Sylvester in 2nd place. Over the line he's going to come, yeah, and indeed, last lap board is out.
This might atone for the shortened race this morning.
It may do, yes, because they only had 2 racing laps earlier on today. The sun is out, which does give the officials a little bit more comfort that we're not going to be finishing the race racing today in utter gloom. It's at 20 to 4 now, and still 2 races to go.
Sylvester through in 2nd place. Dan Brown, yellow and black Civic. Which model of Civic is that? I can never.
Oh, I go a bit hazy on the old ones.
I know the FM2s. I know the
EK, I
EP3s.
think.
EK,
maybe.
I think you're right.
Yeah, there's the 9 car that's been for a spin. That's Cavan Taylor's Renault Clio 197-200. Might drive from Chorley in Lancashire. There is Hilton, though. He's in a class of his own, really. His gap has extended once again to 12.5 seconds. I think a few wags on the live stream chat were saying, well, how quickly is Dan Sylvester going to get his way through all of the Alphas? I reckon halfway round lap 2. Someone said, I reckon on lap 1. Someone else said, well, they're all wrong, because it's still Mike Hilton leading by about 12 seconds as he turns his way through. It's called an EG Civic. Yes, there we go. Is what that was.
On
EG. Yeah.
Example given.
Exactly.
On Google.
70 over the line is Mike Hilton. He's just coming up to lap the 54 car, which is Adrian Norman in the 147 in the production class. He's been a little bit lonely during the course of this race. But Hilton here has had a very strong performance. I should think the setup, the tyres are just better suited to the conditions that we've had today. Long time since the Alfa Romeo Championships run on the Grand Prix circuit. Probably not too many drivers will have driven it in racing conditions before. There's Keith Waite. He's getting the car home this time by the looks of it. He was a non-starter in the early race in the Alfa 75.
Did we see him go down the pit lane as the race started? I think we did. I think he might have started in there again.
Maybe that was it. Maybe a clutch issue or something, so he didn't want to start from the grid. But here through Brooklands for the final time, this time comes Mike Hilton, getting past him with the slower cars. Through Luffield he comes He's just past a couple of the Saxos there. And it's going to be checkered flag this time for Mike Hilton to win High-Tech Electronic Materials Alfa Romeo Championship race. There is the flag, there is the winner. And Mike Hilton is successful in this second race of the day, so wins today for Toby Broom and Mike Hilton. There is Dan Sylvester. He wins in Class A of the PBS Brakes Hot Hats Championship. So that'll be the Class A championship title for him as well. And in third place has come Dan Brown, and he's another 9 seconds behind him in the end. Fourth place goes the way of number 137 Kevin Talbot. Fifth place number 34 Will Self. Sixth is number 33 Toby Broom, who gets the better of Tom Hill by, in the end, about 7 seconds in that battle for the V6s. So with Tom Hill only second there, and just confirming James Ford is still running in the Twin Spark Cup class. I think he is going to come across the line soon to take the championship for the Alfa Romeos this season from that Twin Spark Cup. He's yet to come through, but he's not going to be too far away now. As various class finishers come through in the hot hatches. Is that James Ford? No, that's Dave Messenger coming through now, isn't it? I can see, yep, Dave Messenger, he comes through in 17th place in his Alfa. James Ford's going to be in the next group of cars, I think, behind. He's got the Fiats just ahead of him. And there's David Drinkwater. David Drinkwater's just about to cross the line. There is David Drinkwater, so he wraps up the overall Hot Hats Championship. And we're just waiting still for James Ford to come through. I don't think he has done as yet. And yes, he has dropped down my timing screen. He has he been lapped? Was he lapped? That's the question. He's not come through to complete 6 laps, that's for certain. Oh, he's just slotted in now, just slotted on the screen now, I can see. So James Ford has come through, and he's won the Twin Spark Cup class, and therefore he's won the Alfa Romeo Championship as well. So there's a bit of doubt about that right until the end. But there's Mike Hilton, our winner in the High-Tech Electronic Materials Alfa Romeo Championship, final round of the season. I'm not sure he saw the checkered flag because he's still passing cars on his slowing down lap, so he's still pushed on. Let's have a result of that race, though. It was a win for Mike Hilton in the Alfa Romeo 4C. 6 laps he completed, and he did that 9.45 seconds ahead of Dan Sylvester, won the PBS Brakes Hot Hats Championship part of the race. Dan Brown, number 45, took 3rd place. 4th went the way of number 137, Kevin Talbot. 5th was number 34, Will Self. 6th was 33, Toby Broom, 2nd of the Alphas and the 1st in the V6 class. 7th, number 75, Tom Hill. 8th, number 201, Paul Plant. 9th was number 36, Ryan Polly. And Mike Hilton has seen the checkered flag, he's coming down the pit lane now. 10th, number 24, Nick Cristofaro. 11th, number 21, David Walsh. He won Class B of the Hot Hatches ahead of number 69, Matthew Mandapira. 13th, number 14, Andy Page. 14th, number 67, Ben Norton. And 15th was number 22, Tate Taverner. Then we've got a bit further back, Chris McPhee winning in the Power Trophy class amongst the Alphas, beating Stacey Dennis on this particular occasion. And in 23rd place overall, you can see that David Drinkwater, confirmation that he won Class C from Martin Paget, who was 27, and therefore wins overall for the 5th time in a row the PBS Brakes Hot Hatch Championship title. So many congratulations to him. We'll let the rest of the results run through. James Ford, you can see, number 23 in 28th position, but winning the Twin Spark Cup class from his brother Richard, and therefore we think sealing the High-Tech Electronic Materials Alfa Romeo Championship title as well. So that it brings to an end our tin pop racing for today. We've got some sports car racing still to come from Sports Specials and Master 7s, and then Bike Sports and Sports 1000s to round out the day. But let's head down to the pit lane now. Josh Barrett is going to speak to Mike Hilton, amongst others.
Final round of the High-Tech Alfa Romeo Championship, and Mike Hilton the winner. Well done, Mike. That race was a bit nicer, wasn't it, than the previous sessions?
Yeah, it's amazing what difference it makes when you're on the right tyres. Yeah, the slicks this morning was it was terrible. It's like worse than ice, so I was getting just no grip with big fat rear-wheel drive cars, but that was like first time driven on wet. It was unbelievable. So I really enjoyed it.
It's an awesome car. It's great to have it here. Tell us about how it sort of got to this point.
So somebody else developed into a track day car, and then I've taken it on to be a race car, so upgraded power, suspension, but it's still a modified road car, so it's still more work to do, but today it was amazing.
Back in it next season?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, definitely. Yeah, maybe do some other things and compete with it, but yeah. Definitely, yeah.
It's great to have it here. Well done on your victory. So there's Mike Hilton, the winner in the Great 4C. We see Danny again. Well done, Dan. Another class win and another hot hatch victory as well. So it's been a good way to end the year.
Yeah, it's been a good day. It's been a good day in both the Civic and the Golf. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun today. It's been very tricky conditions all day, but that's what I like. I mean, I know a lot of drivers say that, but it's good fun in the rain, and you know, you get to play with the car a bit. And yeah, that second race, I was on my own for a lot of it, but yeah, still enjoying driving the car flat out and just seeing what I could do, yeah.
And for yourself, do you know what you're going to race next year, or is that all to be decided?
I don't know what I'm going to do next year now. Yeah, I'll concentrate on next week first.
Yeah. What are you going to do next week?
Don't know, I'll find out.
No more racing this year?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well done this year. Well done on another win. Quick chat with David, who was a Class B winner. David, how did your race go?
Pretty good, actually. Yeah, got a good start. Checked out from the beginning and sort of managed to make it stay. I was just watching in the mirror and just managing it all the way through. But he had me sweating. But yeah, good.
Coming back next year for a championship campaign?
Potentially. We came here at the start of the year and wrote a car off. So actually, to come back and just sweep the lot is the perfect end to a season. So yeah. Thank you to everyone that helps.
Well done. Let's see if James is all right to have a quick chat. So that's a class win. We think the Alfa Romeo Championship for this year as well for you?
Yeah, both today, so really happy. Yeah, delighted to be fair, yeah. Cars performed well today, and obviously tricky conditions, not much fun being out there, but yeah, results got done in the end, so happy boy.
And you won pretty much, I think, every race you've raced in this year?
Yeah, 10 out of 10, so I can't have asked for much more, really, yeah.
Well done this season.
Yeah, thank you.
And then finally we can speak to our hot hatch champion, another win for David Drinkwater. Well done, Thirsty. How was that?
Yeah, that was really good. I had a great battle with Martin for most of that race. Really slippy, but for everybody. But no, it was really good.
How do the conditions compare to this morning?
Actually better than this morning. Not as cold, I think. Helped a little bit, and then we've had obviously a bit of running during the day, but it's been good. But I just want to say thank you to my sister and her other half, Colin, my other half, Kat, and my little nephew will be watching at home. So Isaac, love you, babe. he's a loony, and we'll see what we do next year.
Obviously this year probably a bit more challenging to win the championship than the previous seasons.
Yes. The 45 kilos of ballast took a bit of a while to get used to. It was a bit of a struggle at the beginning of the season, but we got on top of that, did some work on the car, and it's been good.
Now thinking to come back next year or something different?
Well, I don't know. If they give another 15 kilos and I have 60 or something, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well done this season. So we heard there from both our champions, from the Alfa Romeos and the hot hatches, as well as all the winners too. More racing coming up next. The Freaky Part Sports Specials and the Aim Shot Mazda 7s coming up in just a few moments.